Let me ask you an uncomfortable question. How many times have you heard the Word of God in your life? Hundreds? Thousands of times? How many masses? How much good advice? How many times did you feel God touching your heart and said, "Yes, this time I really will change"? And tell me honestly, how much has your life really changed? Because today Jesus gets serious, very serious. And notice against whom? Not against the great sinners, not against criminals. He gets harsh with some towns where he preached and worked miracles, where the people saw it all and stayed the same. Neither wicked nor good, indifferent. And he says terrible words to them. On the day of judgment, it will be more tolerable for Sodom than for you. Do you realize what he's saying? That there's something worse than being a great sinner. It's receiving everything from God and doing nothing with it. It's seeing the light and standing still. Stay with me because this gospel is uncomfortable, but it's one of those that can most wake you up. And it's not to frighten you. It's so that today, at last, God's grace doesn't pass you by. Listen to these words of Jesus. They're strong, but listen with an open heart. Jesus began to reproach the towns where most of his mighty deeds had been done, since they had not repented. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would long ago have repented in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And as for you, Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? You will go down to the netherworld. For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until this day. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom on the day of judgment than for you. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. This Gospel shows us a Jesus we're almost not used to seeing. Severe, hurt, even harsh. And it's important to understand why, because he's not in a bad mood. He's suffering. He suffers over the love he gives that isn't returned. Look carefully at whom he addresses, not the declared enemies, not those who never knew him. He addresses Chorazin, Bethsaida, Capernaum, the towns where he preached most, where he worked the most miracles, where the people had everything. Capernaum was practically his home, his base, the town that heard him most. And those towns, after seeing it all, what did they do? Nothing. They neither persecuted him nor followed him. They simply went on with their lives as if nothing had happened. And that indifference is what hurts Jesus. And here's the most uncomfortable lesson today, my brother. Indifference can be worse than loud sin. Jesus says that Sodom, the city that's a symbol of sin, will fare better at the judgment than Capernaum. Why? Because Sodom wasn't given what Capernaum was given. To whom more is given, more is asked. And it's not an unjust threat, it's plain common sense. If someone gives you a fortune and you do nothing with it, you're more responsible than the one who never received it. And think it through, because indifference is a very subtle evil. The great sinner, at least, knows he's in the wrong. Often he suffers, and from that suffering he can turn around and come back to God. Look at the great converts of history. Almost all came from a disordered life, and precisely for that reason, when they discovered God's love, they threw themselves into it completely. But the indifferent one, the lukewarm one, doesn't even feel sick. He thinks he's fine. "I don't hurt anybody," he says. And with that, he's at peace. And so he can go through his whole life without great sins, but also without love, without self-giving, without fire, without having taken one step toward God. And that, my brother, is a wasted life. God doesn't ask you to be perfect. He asks you to love Him, to respond, to move. What He can't stand is the lukewarm heart, the one neither cold nor hot, the one that hears everything and does nothing. And now, my brother, ask yourself the question that really matters today. And me? Think carefully. You and I have received a great deal. You have the faith. You have the Bible within reach. You have masses. You have priests. You have sacraments. You have confession waiting for you. You even have this channel you can watch from your phone. So many graces. There are people in the world who would give everything for a single Mass a year, and we have all of this, and sometimes we don't even make use of it. Be careful not to become a modern Capernaum, people who have everything, who've heard it all, and who stay exactly the same. Because look how dangerous it is to get used to the sacred. When something becomes routine, it stops moving us. You can go to Mass 100 times and not let God touch your heart even once. You can hear the gospel 1,000 times and let it go in one ear and out the other. You can receive communion, God Himself, and walk out of church just as you walked in. That's what happened in Capernaum. They saw miracles and stayed perfectly calm. And that's the risk for the lifelong believer. Habit, lukewarmness, indifference disguised as normality. And let me give you an example that makes me think a lot, my brother. Imagine someone who lives by the sea all his life. In the end, he doesn't even look at it. It becomes scenery, background, something that's just there. Whereas the one who arrives from far away for the first time is left open-mouthed. Well, that's exactly what happens to those of us who've spent our whole lives in the church. We have it so close that we no longer see it. The Eucharist, which is the greatest miracle in the world, we treat as routine. And meanwhile, there are converts, people who came from far away, who are moved to tears receiving communion, because they do know what they're receiving. Familiarity can kill wonder, and without wonder, faith goes out. Ask God today to give you new eyes, the wonder of the first day, to see again what's right in front of you, and you don't appreciate. But careful, don't stay only with the fright, because this gospel isn't to sink you, it's to wake you. And notice something extremely important. Jesus speaks like this because He cares. The one who reproaches does so because He still expects something from you. If Jesus didn't care about you, He'd say nothing. His complaint is a complaint of love. I gave you so much, and you didn't let me in. So if today you feel a sting in your heart, don't take it as a condemnation. Take it as a call. It's God knocking at your door again, still with hope in you. And there's something else that consoles a great deal. Notice that Jesus says Tyre and Sidon, or Sodom, would have repented if they had seen those miracles. That is, Jesus believes in the possibility of conversion, even of the worst. No one is lost to Him. And if He believes even Sodom could have converted, how will He not believe that you, today, can change? Whatever your story, whatever the time lost, today you can still respond. Grace is still there, waiting. And let me tell you something that gives me great hope. God still works miracles today, even if we don't always notice because they're not spectacular. Do you know which ones? The hidden miracles. That time you were spared something and didn't know how. That person who appeared just when you were sinking. That word you heard on exactly the day you needed it. That peace you felt after confession. That strength you drew from who knows where when you thought you couldn't hold on. All of that, my brother, was God passing through your life. Capernaum's problem wasn't that God didn't pass by. It's that he passed, and they didn't recognize him. So today, instead of asking for spectacular signs, learn to see the ones he's already given you. Go back over your life and count the small miracles. You'll discover God has been there far more than you thought. And that grateful memory is the best cure against indifference. So what do we do with all this in a practical way? Very simple. Don't let grace pass by. When at a Mass, in a prayer, in a video like this, you feel God touching you, don't leave it there. Do something. A concrete step, even a small one. A confession you've been putting off for years. A forgiveness you need to ask. A bad habit you need to cut. A daily prayer you need to take up again. Because the worst thing you can do with a grace from God is to admire it and not obey it. Faith that isn't translated into concrete works goes out. And ask yourself, to finish, this very honest question. If tomorrow Jesus asked me to account for everything he's given me, for all the masses, all the words, all the times he touched my heart, what would I answer? What have I done with so much love received? Not to make you anxious, but to make you react. Because you're still in time, and that still is God's greatest mercy. So, what do we take home today? That the worst response to God isn't loud sin, but indifference. That to whom more is received, more is asked. That the believer's greatest danger is habit, lukewarmness, seeing and not changing. And that Jesus reproaches you because he loves you and still expects something from you. So today, don't let grace pass you by. Take a step, just one, but today. Today's task is one of those that changes lives if it's done seriously. Think of that thing God has been asking of you for a long time and that you keep putting off. You know what it is. I don't need to tell you. That confession, that forgiveness, that reconciliation, that vice, that prayer you abandoned. And today, this very day, take the first step. Not tomorrow, not when I can, today. Because today's grace is for today, and graces not used are lost. And listen, if this message shook you a bit, maybe it's exactly what you needed. Don't let it pass. Help me get it to someone else who needs to wake up today. Subscribe if you haven't yet, give it a like, and share this video with that person you know God is calling and who's distracted. And leave me your city and your country in the comments, and if you want, write that concrete step you're going to take today, so I can pray for you at Mass, and so that commitment stays written. One more thing, important. There are fake pages using my face and my name to ask for money and promise miracles. That is not me. I will never ask you for money for a prayer. The only true channel is Light of Faith with Father David. Please be careful. Stay now for the Holy Mass of this Tuesday, July 14th. We offer it for you, for your family, and in a special way for all of us who have received so much from God and responded so little. That today we may wake from lukewarmness and make use at last of so much grace received. May God bless you, and don't forget, God keeps calling you. He still believes in you. Don't let His grace pass by. May God bless you all, today and always.